that, Mike?
Saved my life.
Yes, that's a heavy one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was why I was diagnosed later in life, because back then it was ADD, right? That was the generic term. And it was all hyper back, we're talking back in the 80s, right?
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome to ADHD Unfiltered, where we are going to take you through the lives of two middle-aged men who have lived approximately 50 years each with ADHD and some other things. And we want to bring you the real raw version. We are not doctors. We are not clinical. We are just bringing you the raw lives of us growing up and living with this, I don't want to say disability because I don't believe it is a disability in certain aspects, but we all, if you're watching this, we all know kind of how to classify it. So I'm your host, Sean, and I was diagnosed as an adult with inattentive ADHD. And growing up, I kind of always knew something was a little off, something was wrong, made it through life fairly well, I guess. I am married for 15 years. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I have had my successes and my failures. And Mike, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? This is your co-host, Mike.
So yeah, I've been having ADD since I was a little kid. Got diagnosed started the diagnosis process in grade school. Official diagnosis around the age of 12 or 13. Learning how to live with it. It's interesting. Yeah, so I am in the middle of a divorce. Been married 19 years. I have 4 kids. And I have kids that have ADD as well. So it's entertaining at my house. So yeah, that's where it stands.
Okay.
Right.
And just to kind of set the stage for this, we've never done a podcast, and this is all new to us. So bear with our lower quality cameras and not great backgrounds and all that stuff. We had to get started. And as we know with ADHD, that's one of the biggest things. If Mike and I have been going through this for weeks, trying to perfect everything, trying to get the audio right, this right, that right, well, it's never going to be perfect. And if we just keep delaying it, it's never going to happen. So we just had to jump into the situation and be like, let's get our story out. Let's do this. I know Mike's got so much going on right now. I have some stuff going on. It was worse. Now it's kind of leveled out a little bit, thankfully. But we're just going to try to mostly take you through the chronological story of our lives from grade school up until where we are now. And I'm 48. Mike is 50. Yeah. So together we have about 100 years of 100 years of ADHD knowledge and stories and suggestions, how we've overcome stuff and all that good stuff. And we've got a lot planned for this channel. Like I said, we're going to take you through the chronology, but we're going to break it up a bit. We're going to bring you some special episodes, like we have one planned for New Year's. And we're also going to do kind of those vertical targets like time blindness, executive dysfunction. But we're going to tell you it from our aspect and not from the clinical side or the textbook side. It's just real life stuff. And our stories hopefully will hit, kind of you'll understand it, right? We want to be relatable. We want to be real. We want to bring you what we have been through. And Mike, anything to add to that?
No, well, basically, yeah. So you were diagnosed later. About what age?
Well, I wasn't officially diagnosed until I actually have to go back and try to figure out that date, but I was in my late 20s or early 30s.
So we can use that because I don't know about you and how you started growing up with it, but I had a lot of issues in school. That's how we knew, typical. They didn't know if I had a visual problem or what it was. But so I started there, a bunch of testing, a bunch of extra school programs, bunch of special teachers, and ended up with ADD, ADHD diagnosis. And then that progressed to a little bit later on where they basically said I was on the spectrum, lower end of it, but definitely on it. Yeah. So just wild stuff getting to that point. I didn't know how to deal with it as a kid, and somehow I'm still alive. So we're good. But
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. So would you say, I know it's kind of a newer term, but would you say you fall into that, it sounds like you fall in that odd DHD
yeah, very
category
much.
where there's that crossover and you've got kind of things, one side doing this, the other side doing that. It's trying to cancel each other out and it's just chaos.
It's exactly what happens. It makes even the simplest stuff like sleeping is never simple. To what you eat for food, I don't know, it adds an extra complication to it over the regular ADD and ADHD. But I still have
For sure.
all the same stuff which you deal with time blindness and whatever. That can go from a couple hours to actually that's gone for 3 days where I didn't go home, didn't go to the bathroom, didn't eat, didn't drink. Had no idea. So I'm
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah. Totally get it. And we're going to dive much, much deeper into all of these topics. And like I said, we've got plenty of knowledge. We're going to go off on tangents because we've got that squirrel mind and it's going to happen. We may hit some debates. I don't know. We don't know where this channel is going to go, to be honest, but we want it to be legit. We want it to be real. And we want anyone that already knows they have ADHD or might think they have ADHD, you take our experiences, you take our knowledge, and maybe you decide to go get that official diagnosis. And we'll get into the prescription side of it. We'll get into all that stuff. But this is just kind of that intro. We want to get things rolling. And this is what we're bringing. This is that unfiltered side of it and we've got a couple guests already lined up. Actually multiple guests, probably. Some might be more interesting than the others, but honestly, they're all going to be fun. And the more feedback you guys give us in the comments, we will do some live sessions and we'll do live Q&A sessions where we pull from the comments and stuff like that. And we want to make this very interactive, very fun, very informative. And I think, yeah, things are going to get crazy from the entertainment side, probably. But,
yeah, we'll use the questions.
What do you got,
we
Mike?
can use the questions and the feedback to kind of direct how it goes. So it could get really interesting real quick.
Yeah. And we've got kind of a rough outline for at least a bunch of episodes, but it's going to get squirrely. It's going to get distracted. So, we're looking for you guys. You tell us what you want, but we're still going to give our story, but we're going to mix it up with, and not just be like straight our story,
for sure.
So the next thing, and I have to look at my notes because, we all forget. So Mike, tell us, if we looked at ADHD then versus now, and without getting into too much detail, tell us how has it changed over the years on a higher level?
Well, so when I was first going through all the testing and getting diagnosed with this, they thought ADD was just that, ADD, they thought it was ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Come to find out that I have both. It's the ADD and the ADHD. One's hypo and one is hyper. So I can literally go from being off the wall crazy, doing 1,000 things, to not even being able to function to do one. That in itself is hard. I don't know if you have to deal with any of that. That in itself is hard. But yeah, so as a kid in school, that made school a nightmare. I was often reprimanded for not doing the homework or not being able to pay attention in class. And yeah, so definitely lots of detentions, lots of bad grades, but then I can go take the test and ace the test. So it didn't make any sense. I'm sure you dealt with a little bit of that yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I think that was why I was diagnosed later in life, because back then it was ADD, right? That was the generic term. And it was all hyper back, we're talking back in the 80s, right? So if we look back, it was like, oh, well, my kid's not hyper. He's just lazy. He just doesn't like school, which I hated school. But I managed to get through school doing very minimal work, but also being in honors and advanced placement classes. And I'm not going to say I'm terrible at testing. Always been terrible at testing. I'm probably ridiculously smart, which we'll get into more of the failures and accomplishments later. But it was more about that. Yeah. My parents didn't think I had ADD because I wasn't hyper. I was the opposite. I was inattentive. It was just, I don't know. It's like, I wasn't lazy. It was just, I would hit those mind blocks and not know what to do with it. So it's been an interesting journey and things have really changed. And the concept of ADD and ADHD and odd DHD, all that stuff has evolved so much over the years with autism and everything else. I think it's much better and it's much easier to truly diagnose children these days than it was back
Yeah.
in the 80s. Because back then it was like, well, he's not hyper. He doesn't have it.
Yeah. I mean, and like you just said, I was never a hyper kid in school. I made myself appear busy to do the work, but I wasn't doing it. I was not class problem, anything like that. So for the scholastic part of it, I was very much probably like you, just kept to myself and did what I could do with the work. But I was never, the kid cracking jokes and causing problems. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I totally
But
get
then
it. Yeah.
after school,
And
then
go
after
ahead.
school is a whole different story.
After school. Yeah. No, I know. I was a troublemaker as well. We'll definitely delve into that. And I got some stories
Yeah.
for that. If you were to go, what would the younger you wish you knew?
That it wasn't my fault.
Big one. Big one. I 100% agree. And we didn't script this. We didn't even talk about this, but I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was me. I lived with my life thinking it was me. It was my fault. I am lazy. I'm this.
Yeah.
I'm that.
It took the fun out of life. We'll put it that way.
It
It
was what?
definitely took the fun out of life as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
High stress.
Yeah. I mean, for me, they didn't know what this was, so I was in constant trouble, but
Yeah.
no.
No, me too.
And
Me
I
too.
thought it was me because I was always oops, I lost you. I thought it was me because I was always in trouble. I mean, heck, I'm 50, almost 51, and I'm still grounded from when I was in grade school. Kind of how that works.
Agreed. All right. So this is the kind of stuff that we're just going to totally dive deeper into in later episodes, but we're just getting it out there to you guys. So bringing that to you, why did we decide to start this channel? Like I said, neither of us have ever done a podcast. Neither of us are YouTubers. We're nothing special.
Heck, I'm never in front of I've never.
Yeah, I don't know, me either. So what it really came down to is Mike and I have, how did we meet, Mike?
Honestly, the ATV world online on Facebook, pretty much that's what it is.
Yeah. So we both had a love for ATVs, and I used to race, and Mike's had a long history in the ATV parts world and stuff like that. So we connected, probably what, 2.5 years ago?
The funny thing is nobody told anybody. Either one of us had ADD. We just kind of meshed it together, and I was like, hey, I got ADD. And you're like, well, so do I. So yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing. What's the funniest thing about this situation,
Well,
Mike?
we're about 11 hours apart, and we've never been around each other in person, and we pretty much talk every day.
We've never met. And we kind of became each other's ADHD support system because
100%.
as anyone that's watching probably knows, it's very difficult to talk to friends, even talk to family. Anybody that doesn't have it, they don't understand it. And that's where Mike and I bonded and connected, and we just became each other's support system through, Facebook Messenger. And it was like, if he was having a bad day or I was having a bad day. And now, it evolved, and we talk every day. I don't know. What else can you add to that, Mike?
It saved my life.
Yes, that's a heavy one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had my downs as well, and Mike has been there to lift me back up. And yeah.
No, it's cool.
We've got some heavy stuff that have happened over the years. And again, we'll get into that deeper later. But that's the reason we kind of came together and we're like, how can we bring all this to the rest of the world? And obviously YouTube is a channel that we can reach globally.
You're not.
Oh man, there's so many. I'm trying to stay
People
focused.
just
I'm
need
trying
to
to stay focused for this episode.
People just need to understand they're not the only ones. And even if you have a family member that has this, that doesn't mean you understand it. You're not them. You're not dealing with it on the level that the person that actually has it is. Just because you hear from the doctor or your parents and they say this and that's one aspect of it. That's not how the person that actually has to live their everyday in and out of daily life. It's never fully accurate. That's what I'm trying to say. The stress is real.
I completely
The
agree.
stress is real.
Yeah, no,
But
it's not laziness. It's not anything. It's a miswiring, right? And that's,
the good times are really good
again, we're
times.
not going to,
I'll say that.
yeah, well, I've had my great times. I mean, but the reality is it's like even in relationships and with children and handling all those situations, and it just gets
Yeah.
heavy. It gets stressful. It gets, I don't know.
For me, I often can't burn off the stress like the next person, the regular life stress, and I can't unload that. I have to, which I know you're the same way. It takes excessive measures to melt the stress level.
Yeah. Yeah. We tend to hold that stress longer and harder and more internally than a non neurodivergent mind,
Yeah.
because it's just all jumbled up in there. And oh man, the rabbit holes are
Yeah.
already starting. I knew we were going to do this. Okay, so let's pause there because this is more the intro episode. We just want to let you guys know what we're doing. We have a segment that we're going to do on every episode, and this is what we're calling squirrel moments. And these squirrel moments, as you know, it's like, oh, I saw a squirrel. These can be fun, these can be happy, these can be negative, anything like that. But we're gonna just have this kind of little fun piece in everyone. And it's all stuff that anyone with ADHD can relate to at some point in their lives. I'll start. For example, last week, and I'm not going to say this is the first time this has happened. It's probably not. But my wife was leaving for work. I was sitting on the couch in the morning having my coffee. She's like, hey, can you put the towels in the dryer? Because they were in the washer. I said, yeah, no problem. Told her I love her, got up, gave her a kiss, went, sat down, had my coffee. And about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes later, I was like, oh crap, I got to put the towels in the dryer. So I got up, walked over to the kitchen, and then I was like, I need a drink of water. Stopped, glass in the refrigerator, filled my glass of water, drank it, went over, washed my hands, dried my hands. What did I do? I went right back to the couch. It's like 6 o'clock, 6:15 when she gets home. She's like, oh, thanks for putting the towels in the dryer. Yeah. All day. Didn't think about it again because I was busy. But, that's that kind of squirrel moment that you're like, yeah, I got it. Well, I didn't
Yeah,
have it.
I do the same thing.
How about you, Mike?
Same thing. I'm real bad for shutting cabinets. When I get stuff out, I forget to close the cabinets, or if I put something away, I can't find it again. Another thing that is huge for me is locking doors. I often will lock a door, and it got so bad that I would check the lock 5, 6 times. So my only way of adapting in that situation is actually take a video on my phone, so I know that I locked the door. So when I get to my vehicle, I can look at it and say I locked the door. Otherwise, I'm going to get back and forth 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Same thing. But yeah, that, and I make food and don't eat it. I'll put something in the microwave and I don't hear it go off, or I get distracted and it just sits in the microwave until I decide to cook something later. But yeah, definitely squirrel moments are, yeah. 100%.
Exactly. So that's going to be kind of our little bit of, that the small segment where we're just randomness, like what happened to you this week, because we have
I
them
just
every day.
did this 3 days ago. I went to the gas station and paid for $130 in diesel fuel, got back in my truck and left. And about 3 minutes later, realized that I did not get any fuel. My fuel light was still on and had to circle back around to get my diesel fuel. So yeah.
Okay, that's a rough one.
That's like maybe twice a year, but it happens. It what happens.
Oh,
And it's never cheap.
I hear you. And I can't say that I've ever done that one, but we've all done the crazy stuff, and it's just like most of it's repetitive, and you think like, oh, I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, you're going to do
The
it
entire reason I went to the gas
So
station.
again, yeah. So again, just to recap, we're going to bring you relationships. We're going to bring you some crazy. I have a couple friends that are actually worse off than I think both of us with ADHD, whether one is hyper and one is just the epitome of inattentive. And probably going to end up bringing my wife on from the relationship side. We've been together 15 years, so we want to, how's that
And your
been
wife
going?
doesn't have ADD,
What
right?
does she? No, she does not. And just kind of like, yeah, we're going to hit those time blindness and executive dysfunction and all these other verticals of how what they kind of use to diagnose ADHD, and we're going to bring them to you, and we're going to discuss them, and it may span multiple episodes because we're trying to keep these, we don't want them to be 3 hours long, right? So if we hit a point where we go down a rabbit hole or a tangent, we're going to cut it and we'll extend it. But again, we just wanted to bring this out to you, and we're excited. I mean, we're excited to do it because it's kind of like Mike and I were talking. I said, I'd love to write an autobiography, but we know that won't happen because I'll get like 2 pages in and get bored with it.
Yeah, for me, and I can't even spell for crap. So I can't spell.
Well, that's what spell check is for. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to wrap this one up. We have a fast follow, and then we're going to release a special New Year's episode. So we're going to have some special episodes we throw in here and there. And we miss Christmas, but it's just kind of like, okay, let's take a look at New Year's and what do we hope to get out of this next year? And I know what Mike's main hope is, and we'll get into that. But, if you guys have any questions or anything you want, like specific topics you'd like to hear from 100 years of ADHD, leave us a comment. If you like what you hear so far and you want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes, hit that subscribe, like this video. That'll help us keep going. And the more followers or subscribers and the more feedback we get, then we can upgrade our equipment and we'll bring in more guests and we'll just really go crazy with this. We'll do those live Q&As, but we need you guys, and especially people with ADHD, autism, ADHD. We have, I'm actually kind of really excited to do the question and answer sessions if we get to that point, but let's start here. And Mike, any closing remarks?
We promise it gets wild, really wild.
It gets really wild.
We've discussed a couple topics, and I know I've given you a couple, and you're blown away, and then you did some stuff yourself, and I'm blown away. So yeah, it definitely will get wild.
Yeah, it's a crazy mix. It's definitely a crazy mix from 2 completely different sides of the spectrum, honestly, and no pun intended on that with the spectrum comment. But yeah. So we hope you guys took that red pill and want to join us down the rabbit hole and on this journey and ride, So from both Mike and I, thank you. And we hope to see you on the next one. Take it easy.
You know something. You feel it. You've felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there.